Hello and welcome to On the Bump, an SP Streamer podcast, now part of the Fantrax Podcast Network and FantraxHQ.com family. I'm your host, Doug Ishikawa. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Michael Simione. Good morning, Michael. How you feeling, man?
Not too bad, as we were kind of just discussing. I just feel like I have a cold that won't go away. But for the most part, I'm all right. Hanging in there.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you're on the rebound. You know, like Jerry Maguire said to Dorothy Boyd, you complete me, my friend. So I'm glad that you're doing better. I know that you watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes, I've watched the first two. I need to watch Return of the King still.
Oh, okay. Well, you have a little bit of time to do that. But before we move any further, the speaker recognizes the Mets fan on the floor. Go ahead, take a couple of minutes to get out your excitement. Tell me about everything that's happening in Met.
Oh my gosh, it made my day, man. I'm just glad we actually have an owner who does something, which is just, I feel for the Cleveland Indians fans because, we know what it was like to have owners who just don't invest. It's horrible and frustrating, but I couldn't be more excited. I don't know if they're going to do anything else. I don't know if they're just going to go more into depth, or just, I don't know if they're going to sign Springer. I don't know. It's tough to see what they're, to tell, but honestly, right now I'm happy. Even if the free agency ended today, I'd still be happy. We got no one saw Carrasco coming, so that's amazing. We really needed the pitching depth, and that just took us to another level. Hopefully he could stay healthy. But both of the guys are great guys. You can't help but to love them. So I'm really excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's exciting. I know that there was a little bit of noise yesterday that Chris Bryant might be on his way. He might be packing his bags from Chicago to head his way over to New York there. So kudos to you. That's great news for the Mets fans there. I know that made you happy, and hopefully it made you feel a little bit better because we've got to get together today. We've got another fun bite-sized pod. If I don't freeze, so we're doing so well so far in the first 2 minutes of this. So that's why we're kind of testing the waters here. We'll discuss some late-tiered arms that you should be targeting in those best ball NFBC drafts. Michael's got 3 names to keep on your radar. And then we'll get into what we will be up to next Saturday, January 16th. We hope that you are joined up and that you've seen Michael's tweet on that. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that a little bit later on in the pod before I freeze. But Michael, let's start off with some player analysis. What pitchers are you targeting in the later rounds of your draft here?
So I know a lot of people are doing some NFBC DCs right now or best balls. So I figured just touch on 3 pitchers quick who are going later that could add some, solid depth. All 3 look like they'll be in the rotation, and they're going late. I meant to put the NFBC ADPs, but I completely forgot. But anyway, the first one's going to be David Peterson, and I'm not trying to just be a homer here. He's got a really good slider. The issue coming into last season, which you could see as he pitched, was the fastball command. It's a little iffy. He did miss his marks pretty often, unfortunately. I'm hoping it's something he's, going to make a point to work on, because if he can, I think he could be a really good pitcher who's going to get you innings and induces a lot of weak contact, that kind of stuff. But what I see from him that you won't see on the stat sheet, and obviously I know because I'm a Mets fan, so I watched every start of his, is when his back's against the wall, that's when he kind of like puts his foot down and like rises above the occasion. I think he's like that gamer type, kind of like a Scherzer, where if he's not pitching well, he kind of gets angry, and that bodes well for him because I think his performance kind of steps up. So I think that's something you're not going to see on the stat sheet that you could get from him, and that I really like, which is a reason why in deeper leagues, I think he's someone I'm going to be targeting. Plus, he's going to be in the rotation. In 2019, the Mets let their starters really go deep into games. So I feel like he definitely could get the innings. The next pitcher is going to be for the Baltimore Orioles, and that's going to be Keegan Akin. Overall, he had a 4.56 ERA with a 3.27 FIP and a 30% strikeout rate. As a starter, he had a low 4 ERA with a 2.5 FIP and a 33 strikeout rate. So the makings is there. He's got a great fastball, has above average movement, places it high in the zone really nicely. It's paired with a changeup that has an above average whiff rate and a drastic change in velocity. So he's got a really good combination right there. The problem is he just needs to limit the hard contact with the changeup. And I think he needs to throw it outside the zone a little more, get a little more chases. But overall, I think he could, give you some nice strikeout potential. He's definitely going to have some good starts with high strikeouts, like 8 to, I think he had a couple games with 8 strikeouts. So especially in a best ball, I feel like that'll work really nicely for you. And then the last,
before you get to your last guy,
yes.
and we'll tease the third pitcher here. Just going back to David the Hulk Peterson from your Mets here, I just want to quickly remind you, he's the 140th pitcher going off the board at NFBC. Okay. His ADP right now is 356, and I know that you just mentioned Keegan Aiken from Baltimore. Mm-hmm. He's the 216th pitcher taken off the board. His ADP is well beyond that, like 558th.
Wow.
So just take a look at that. Have that kind of in your mindset there that these are pitchers that you could probably wait on. Michael, let's get to your last pitcher, and I'll look up the ADP as we're doing this live.
Yes, and that will be Patrick Sandoval. I know we all kind of thought he'd take a step forward this season, and it didn't really happen, but he is an elite changeup. We all know that. Crazy good movement, could have potentially be one of the better ones in the league. But what he really did, which was interesting, was he upped his slider usage, which I know the Angels love to do, and it worked because that pitch took a big step forward in terms of whiffs. It was amazing. The only issue is the four seam is still horrible, so I'd like to see him drop that down. But overall, with the pitch mix, he did lower the fastball usage, and he upped both of his breaking balls, so that's good. He's trending the right way. I would just like to see that fastball come down more and maybe take a back seat to the slider or the changeup. We'll see what he kind of does there. But they did that with Bundy. So why not do that with Patrick Sandoval as well? He's going to probably be in the rotation. It sounds like, Ohtani's not really going to pitch. We don't really know. So I like him. Where's he going, Doug?
228th pitcher taken off the board. His ADP is 585. So another one of those pitchers that you can definitely wait on there.
Yeah. So these are just late guys that, in these deep formats, they're worth taking a shot on because if they click, they're going to pay off for you.
Yeah. So David Peterson from the Mets, Keegan Aiken of the Orioles, and then your last guy, Patrick Sandoval from the Los Angeles Angels there. 3 arms that you should definitely keep on your radar. You can definitely wait on them as you are, approaching those later rounds in your NFBC drafts or your best ball drafts right now. Remember, especially in best ball, because we've been talking to Derek Rhodes a lot lately and Brian Seymour of the Fantasy Best Ball exclusive podcast. You want pitchers who are going to go out there and be productive for you, even if, taking the ball every 5th day there. That's what you kind of are looking for to accumulate those stats. Michael, let's get into what we're doing next Saturday, January 16th. Can you talk a little bit about what we have going on for SP Streamer Nation and for the Bourbon Barrel League as well?
Yeah, so I always wanted to do something for charity, and someone in the SP Streamer Discord chat, Mike, I'm assuming I pronounced this right, Lococo, he started something called the Bourbon Barrel League, which is essentially just people join the league, and the main focus is to raise money for charities. I joined the league, and this year's charity is Pitching for Baseball and Softball, which essentially just takes money, donation money, and they invest it into baseball equipment and softball equipment for children who basically can't afford it, and gives them an opportunity to play the sport, which is great. I mean, that's where it starts. I remember always playing baseball as a kid, and it was a lot. Obviously, loved it. So I think it's a really cool charity to raise money for. So what we decided to do, luckily Doug was all in on it, which is awesome. We're doing a 3-hour live podcast with 4 panels. We're going to start off with me, Doug, and Mike, who basically started the league. And we're going to go through each panel. Some are half hour, some are 45 minutes. We have a couple of, if you donate, no matter the amount, you enter a raffle. We have a couple awesome prizes, such as a Pete Rose signed baseball, a couple Baseball HQ forecasters, a couple other stuff too, which you could see in my post from yesterday. But I just wanted to go over the panels real quickly because that's what's going to make this a lot of fun. The first panel is going to be talking about some analytics, and that's going to be Paul Sporer, Ryan Bloomfield, and Matt Williams. The second panel will be discussing streaming with Nick Pollock, Max Fries, Michael Curlin. The third panel will be discussing prospects with Shelley Verstrate, Chris Clegg, and Eric Cross. And the fourth panel will be discussing just strategy overall with some really bright minds, and Toby, or as you know him, Batflip Crazy, Dave McDonald, and Vlad Sedler. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to discuss a lot of cool things. And, in the meantime, while we're doing that, hopefully raising some money for this awesome charity. And it should be a great time.
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting. We're both very pumped to be a part of it. I'm a teacher by trade, and anytime that we can give back to communities to get kids out there to play some baseball, we love. Obviously, why we're doing this right now, podcasting, doing a little bit of fantasy baseball, because of how much baseball and the sport meant to us as kids growing up. So it's a great organization, a great charity. We hope that you are a part of that as well. Come join in. We got some of the best people, like Michael was talking about, from the fantasy baseball community coming around. And that's what's so great about this community, is that people rally behind some serious, great causes there. And we're very excited and humbled to be a part of that. And hopefully we're able to raise some money and we can get some great stuff for some of the kids in the community. But is there anything else that we left out for today, Michael, that we'd like to hit upon real quick?
I think that's it. I'm just glad you haven't froze yet.
I am too. This is why I'm rushing through this. But make sure that you tune in next week. But before we go and before we get out of here, we do want to quickly shout out one of the other great pods on the Fantrax Podcast Network, the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Show with D. Mendy, Little Cheesecake, and the Doc. They just had on maybe like a week ago, Aaron Savali from the Cleveland baseball team. And it was a great listen. We had Michael Lorenzen on. They had Aaron Savali on. It's great to hear what different pitchers are doing, how they are gearing up for a hopeful 2021 season that starts on time. Those guys are crazy because they are pumping out football and basketball, baseball, like every single day they are doing something. So make sure that you go check out the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Show, Basketball Show, and the Football Show. If you're listening on a platform right now that allows you to rate, review, or share us, go give us as well as Triple Play a nice one. We would love to be able to bring this podcast to the masses. We've been talking about our Discord, and it is growing by the day, and we are so excited. We talk in there every single day, and it's a lot of fun to get to know other people as well. And only your reviews and ratings help us get to where we need to get to, as that's our show for today. For Michael Simione, he's bouncing back, people. He looks good. Here's to a hopeful quick recovery here, but I'm Doug Ishikawa. We can't wait to see you all next Saturday for our live SP Streamer podcast event supporting the Bourbon Barrel League and its quest to raise money for a great cause with Pitch In for baseball and softball. We will drop the links. You can check that out for yourself. And if you feel so inclined to donate, we have a couple of great prizes for you as well. And it's just for a great cause. But in the meantime, take care, stay safe, and unfrozen. We made it, Michael. Very excited about that. Yeah. And we will hopefully see you very soon. Take care, everybody.